Did you know there's a Catholic figure who's making the world wonder? Could an Asian become Pope? This video will reveal why Cardinal Tagle might change the course of Catholic Church history and the secrets behind this intriguing story. From a small nation in Asia, Cardinal Tagle has risen to global prominence. But can an Asian truly break the centuries-old traditions of the Church? To find the answer, let's dive in. There have been only 266 popes in the Church's 2,000-year history, yet astonishingly, not one has ever come from Asia. Could this change? And if it does, Cardinal Tagle stands as the most promising candidate. Picture this, a young pope emerging from the fastest-growing region of the Church, Asia. Cardinal Tagle isn't just an exceptional leader, he's a symbol of compassion and innovation. But is that enough to break the centuries-old traditional barrier? So, with all his remarkable qualities and global influence, does Cardinal Tagle have what it takes to rewrite history and become Pope? Behind this question lies a deeper narrative. Who's backing him? What opportunities and challenges await? And is the Church ready for such a bold step? Let's dive in and find out. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more captivating insights into the Catholic Church's most fascinating stories. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Cardinal Tagle could become Pope? Let us know, and let's keep the conversation going. The role and influence of Cardinal Tagle. To understand the influence of Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, we must start where he built his career, the Philippines. A small nation, but the largest Catholic center in Asia, Cardinal Tagle is not just a religious leader, but a symbol of hope for millions. The story begins when Cardinal Tagle was a young priest in the Diocese of Imus. During a Sunday morning mass, he shared a story about a poor family he met in the slums. A young child from that family asked him, "Father, does God know that my family has nothing to eat?" That question moved him to tears, and from that day on, he decided to dedicate his heart to serving the poor. In 2011, Cardinal Tagle was appointed Archbishop of Manila, an event many called the rise of a new star. Under his leadership, the Archdiocese of Manila became a center of evangelization, not only for the Philippines, but for all of Asia. He established educational programs for underprivileged children, expanded charitable activities, and reformed the Church's approach to engaging with communities. A standout moment came in 2013 when Typhoon Haiyan, one of the strongest storms in recorded history, devastated the Philippines. Cardinal Tagle organized relief efforts within 24 hours. He mobilized resources from within the country and called for global support from the Church. Remarkably, he personally visited the hardest-hit areas, embracing those who had suffered losses and saying, "God is here with you through us." Following his success in the Philippines, Cardinal Tagle was elected president of Caritas Internationalis in 2015. This marked a pivotal moment. Caritas Internationalis is the Catholic Church's largest charitable network, operating in over 160 countries. Under his leadership, the organization not only amplified its humanitarian relief efforts, but also focused on systemic issues like climate change, migration, and global poverty. A notable moment was his 2019 speech at the United Nations, where he declared, "We do not just provide food to the hungry, we bring hope to their hearts. We do not just build homes for refugees, we rebuild their faith in humanity." His speech earned praise from international leaders and solidified his status as a global leader. In 2019, Pope Francis appointed Cardinal Tagle as prefect of the congregation, for the evangelization of peoples. This is one of the most important departments in the Vatican, responsible for bringing the gospel to areas that have yet to be evangelized. In this role, he not only managed operations, but also traveled to some of the most challenging locations, from remote regions in Africa to conflict zones in the Middle East. During one trip to a small village in Myanmar that had endured war, he asked the residents, "What helps you keep your faith alive?" A woman replied, "We listen to Father Tagle's sermons on the radio. His words are the light that guides us in the darkness." What makes Cardinal Tagle truly special is his ability to connect with the youth. He not only uses modern language, but also participates in online interactions, answering questions from people all over the world. Once, a young person asked him, "Do you think God is moving away from us?" Cardinal Tagle smiled and replied, "No, it's us who are moving away from God. But God always has his arms open, just waiting for us to return." That response moved the young person to tears and went viral on social media, garnering millions of views and positive comments. The role and influence of Cardinal Tagle extend far beyond a single nation or organization. He is a symbol of compassion, innovation, and the Catholic Church's global connectivity. From his humble beginnings in the Philippines to the grand halls of the Vatican, his journey is a testament to how one person can change the world through faith and love. Point 2. Evaluating the leadership qualities of Cardinal Tagle. To understand why Cardinal Tagle is considered one of the most promising candidates for the papacy, we must delve into his extraordinary leadership qualities that have defined his legacy. Cardinal Tagle is not only known as an exceptional theologian, but also as a spiritual father who connects deeply with people from all walks of life. A memorable story occurred at a parish in Manila. A street vendor approached him, offering a small bag of bread, and said, "Father, would you try this? It's all I have." Instead of declining, Cardinal Tagle sat down with the vendor, shared the bread, and listened to their story for 30 minutes. When asked why he spent time on such moments, he simply smiled and said, "God has taught me that leadership isn't commanding from afar. It's sitting down with the least among us." What sets Cardinal Tagle apart is his compelling communication style. He doesn't rely on lengthy, complex sermons, but instead shares short, simple stories that carry profound meaning. At a World Youth Day event, he told the story of an orphan who asked him, "Father, if no one loves me, does God still love me?" He replied, "You are the reason God loves this world." That story moved thousands to tears, embedding the message that every individual holds immense value in God's eyes. Cardinal Tagle understands that for the Catholic Church to thrive, it must adapt to the changing times. He has been a pioneer in using social media to reach younger generations, a bold move in the eyes of many. In 2020, when the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted traditional services, Cardinal Tagle began hosting online sermons. During one broadcast, he said, "If we can't meet in church, let God meet us through the screen." That sermon attracted millions of viewers, transforming a challenge into an opportunity to bring God's word closer to people. As a Filipino, Cardinal Tagle represents not only Asia, but also serves as a bridge between diverse cultures. One notable moment occurred during a Vatican conference where he was to speak before hundreds of delegates from various nations. Instead of delivering a prepared speech, he chose to share a story about a refugee family he met in Jordan. He said, "They lost everything, their home, their belongings, even their hope. But when I asked them what they needed most, they simply replied, 'We just want someone to listen.'" That story changed the tone of the entire conference, reminding everyone that the refugee crisis isn't just about statistics, but about real human lives. One of Cardinal Tagle's most critical qualities is his steadfast faith, even in the face of significant challenges. In 2014, when the Philippine Church was criticized for failing to meet the needs of disaster-stricken communities, Cardinal Tagle took responsibility on behalf of the Church. He said, "We are not perfect, but God has placed us here to do all we can, and we will not stop." That act not only alleviated criticism, but also restored people's faith in the Church's leadership. From his sermons to his actions, Cardinal Tagle consistently demonstrates that leadership isn't about standing atop a pedestal, but about lowering oneself to lift others. One of his most famous sayings has become a symbol. You cannot lead people to God if you are not willing to walk beside them. Cardinal Tagle's leadership is rooted not just in intellect or position, but in his ability to lead with his heart. He is a living testament to the idea that a great leader doesn't command, but accompanies. His humility, adaptability, and inspirational presence have made him one of the most influential figures in the modern Catholic Church. Point 3. Challenges from tradition and politics in the Church. Although Cardinal Tagle possesses many outstanding qualities, his journey to the papacy is far from simple. The Church's long-standing traditions and internal politics present significant obstacles for any candidate, especially a cardinal from Asia. Let's explore these challenges through the lens of storytelling. Since 33 AD, when St. Peter was considered the first pope, most popes have hailed from Europe. This is not just a matter of tradition, but also reflects the historical development of the Catholic Church, with its power center in the Vatican. A compelling story from the 20th century illustrates this point. When Pope John Paul II, a Polish pope, was elected in 1978, many saw it as a breakthrough, as he was the first pope from Eastern Europe. However, the challenges he faced asserting his position in the Church and navigating cultural barriers demonstrated how difficult it is to break away from tradition. For Cardinal Tagle, the challenge is even greater because Asia, his homeland, has never produced a pope. This raises the question, is the Church ready to extend its leadership beyond Europe and Latin America? Cardinal Tagle is a proponent of renewal in how the Church engages with modern society, particularly with young people and marginalized communities. However, this stance could provoke resistance from conservative factions within the Church, who fear that such renewal may overshadow traditional values. A notable example occurred during the 2014 Synod of Bishops on the Family, when issues like divorced and remarried individuals and the LGBTQ community were discussed. Cardinal Tagle stated, "Mercy does not weaken the truth. It is the only way the truth can be received." While his message resonated with many, it also drew criticism from some conservative cardinals, who deemed him too open. The election of a pope is not just a spiritual process, but also deeply influenced by politics. In the conclave, where 115 cardinals vote, alliances and regional interests often play crucial roles. A story from 2005, when Pope Benedict XVI was elected, highlights this complexity. In the first voting round, 3 candidates emerged as front-runners, each backed by different groups. Ultimately, consensus was achieved when Latin American cardinals shifted their support to Cardinal Ratzinger, Pope Benedict XVI's birth name. For Cardinal Tagle, persuading cardinals from Europe, Latin America, and Africa to back an Asian candidate would be a monumental challenge. He would need to prove that he is not just a representative of Asia, but a leader capable of guiding the entire Church during a turbulent period. With his global recognition and influence, Cardinal Tagle is often referred to as a future pope. However, this very expectation can create immense pressure on him, both personally and in his interactions with other cardinals during the conclave. A story from 2019 illustrates this. When Pope Francis appointed Cardinal Tagle as prefect of the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples, many Filipino faithful held prayer gatherings to support his potential papacy. An elderly woman remarked, "He is our hope. If not now, then when?" While these prayers were heartfelt, they also placed a heavy burden on Cardinal Tagle, compelling him to remain grounded amid praise and high expectations. Despite facing deeply rooted traditions and political barriers, Cardinal Tagle remains a pivotal figure for the Church's future. In an interview, he once said, "I do not dream of becoming Pope. I just want to serve wherever God calls me." This response not only reflects his humility, but also underscores his steadfast faith, an essential trait for overcoming challenges within the Church. Tradition and politics are significant hurdles for Cardinal Tagle to overcome if he is considered for the papacy. However, with his leadership qualities, resilience, and compassion, he continues to prove that these obstacles are not endpoints, but opportunities for the Church to enter a new era. Asia is currently experiencing the fastest growth in Catholic faithful. This makes Cardinal Tagle a symbol of a globalized and renewed Church. But the ultimate decision lies in the hands of the 115 cardinals in the conclave, where politics and traditions sometimes outweigh personal qualities. Supporters of Cardinal Tagle believe he is the perfect figure to connect with younger generations and marginalized groups. But to become Pope, he must overcome numerous formidable opponents and the weight of historical biases. So, can Cardinal Tagle become Pope? The answer is he has all the qualities to fulfill this role. However, it depends on the timing and the Church's decision. Regardless of the outcome, Cardinal Tagle already stands as a symbol of hope, renewal, and compassion. Let's wait and see how history will write his story. What about you? Do you think Cardinal Tagle could become Pope? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating stories from the Catholic Church. Subscribe now to stay updated on the most captivating Catholic narratives.